Right. Welcome to the H.E.A.L podcast. Join two real life friends and professional women on a journey of self discovery, growth, and healing. Together, we explore what it means to unpack life's challenges, embrace self awareness, grow in our spiritual practices, and navigate healing one honest conversation at a time. This is not a space for giving advice, but rather a place to share tools, tips, and reflections that have inspired us along the way. Whether you're looking for clarity, connection, or curiosity driven dialogue, you're in the right place. Let's hold each other accountable with love as we grow together. Hey, Kiki.
Hey Jazz, how you doing?
I'm fine. I had a really productive day. I did a lot. I got a lot done today.
Go ahead and hit them tags. I just post you on it real quick.
Oh, yeah. I saw that pop up. Thank you, ma'am.
I just want to let you know.
So, last week we took a poll.
Mm-hmm.
Last week we took a poll.
Yeah.
And the people gave us some advice on how they thought we should curate these conversations and continue like this series that we've been talking about, right? Let me make sure that I stay here because like my aunt watches the podcast. She watches the replays. So the other day she asked me, she was like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to come into the camera? And I was like, sometimes I just be adjusting myself. She was like, you're very fidgety. I was like, one thing a boomer is going to tell you is what they really think.
They're going to tell you about yourself.
And I'm talking, I know she's going to watch this episode. Even when you don't ask them, they are going to tell you what they think.
That's called unsolicited.
Unsolicited advice.
But they mean so well. They mean, even if it's so well. No matter how rough it is. One thing they haven't quite perfected yet is the softness of it. They give it to you straight.
They give it to you straight. No chaser.
They don't care. They don't ask about your bandwidth. How you feeling today? Are you already feeling kind of low? Are you on the edge of the cliff? Let me push you over with this comment. Sit down. Keep still. Ma'am, I didn't need that today.
Hey, yo, but listen, she does. She knows me, right? So she'll be like, well, I was gonna say something. And I'll be like, just go on and say it. So she be trying to give me like disclaimers.
Okay. That's her way of like.
Okay. That's her way of like, you know what I'm saying? Let me try to
shut up.
ease it. And I'll be like, you know what, I'm Pat? Just go on and say it. Because I don't care. I'm gonna listen. Whatever. And then we do the dozens.
Yeah.
Like I go back and forth with her, like me and you go back and forth. Oh, and then the other thing she told me, she was like, I like Kiki. She was like, I like the way y'all don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. I told Pat, I said, don't encourage her. I said, don't encourage her. I said, because I've had enough. I had enough of you sarcastic people in my life.
You love it.
I have enough. I mean, it's cool. It's beneficial.
It adds a je ne sais quoi to your life. It
does. It really does.
It's a taste.
It's a it's a good level of reciprocity.
I know when to chill. I know when to relax. I'm not always here. Sometimes I'm here. Sometimes. Jazz, yesterday I was real quiet yesterday. I was real quiet.
Let me tell y'all, but this is the funny thing about you when you get quiet. So there's two different levels of quiet. There's quiet when she's like really thinking about her own life and what's going on with her, and she gets real like, because I be worried. I'm like, bitch, you're a little too calm. What's going on? You need to unpack something. And then there's the other level of quiet where she be like, I ain't fuck with you today. And I'm like, if you're making an announcement, it's not the same. You know what I mean? It's different when like somebody is just chill the whole day and you be like, oh wow, Kiki, you ain't talk shit all day today. She announces that I'm not gonna talk shit today. So I'm
giving you a little breathing room today. I'm not gonna. It's a lot.
I don't know.
Thought about you today. I said, I'm taking it easy on Jazz today. I'll save it for tomorrow. We'll save it for. I think I told you yesterday. I'll save it for the podcast.
Yeah, she been talking shit to me all day. It's cool though.
Yeah,
I can handle it.
So I'm sorry. Did we announce what we're talking about today? I know we talked about like everyone helping. Okay,
we announced it on the page. So today, our conversation is going to be, it's giving growth, right?
Insert meme.
It's giving growth. And
it's not the whole title.
I listen, you know my memory, my mushrooms don't be listen, I'm working.
I sent you the notes.
I'm trying to I pulled it up. So this is the thing. I'm really trying to get back into like my poetry stance because Kiki is very adamant that she wants me to perform this particular piece on the show one day, as well as some other people in my life. And I'm cool with it. But like back in the day when I used to perform, I performed like freestyle, no paper. It's all memory. It's all body language. It's all movement. And I've been out of the game for like over 10 years. So I'm really trying to practice like memorizing things. So all I could memorize is giving growth. I couldn't get But today's topic is it's giving growth when challenges become invitations.
So can I tell you something that's very real? Because we actually make that video. I recorded it at least 10 times because the title kept flipping. I was like, it's giving. I had to like re-record about, but also like give ourselves grace because we are in our 40s now. And I recognize that our memory is not, I used to remember, let me tell you something, every Easter, I got the longest poem to recite on Easter Sunday. That's how sharp I'm out. I had a method. I would put the poem under my pillow and I would get the longest poems of the Sunday school class because my memory was so sharp. Girl, I can't remember 2 lines. I can remember it's giving growth when challenges become invitations. What?
It's crazy. Like it's sometimes I'll be like, yo, I live by myself. So sometimes I'll be here like, okay, the devil is a lie. We rebuke any spirit of Alzheimer's or dementia. Because low key, I'll be paranoid about everything. Like, I cannot be in this house one day and
forget who I am.
Forget who the fuck I am and what I'll be doing. I'll be like, wait a minute. I bind this spirit. Let me go get some blueberries. Let me go get some ginger. Let me go get my mushrooms.
I need something. However you pronounce that.
Yeah, but I be taking my mushrooms and stuff every day and my coffee stuff because but I did recite and remember 2 scriptures. Please don't ask me what they are right now, but I memorized them for 4 days. I remembered them, but at the moment I can't. But go ahead, Kiki.
So then that means you didn't recite them. Well, you recited them. Wait,
I recited them and I memorized them. I held them for 4 days. For 4 days, I was repeating and remembering the same scripture. Today is not coming to me. Today is not coming. But I practiced it 4 days in a row. I don't know. Today it just.
I want to test you. Can you give me something? What's the first word of the verse? What chapter is it? Maybe because when you kind
Jesus said, then Jesus said to the centurion, "Go your own way." And then it's something about like, and as you believe, it will be done unto you, or it will be something like that. I can't remember, but it's in Matthew. I know it's in Matthew.
It's in Matthew.
Matthew 8.
I
think it's Matthew 8:16. I think.
Let's see.
Are you really you got your Bible? You get them on nerves.
I established my strap in my hand. What you talking about?
No, but I'm saying you're really gonna go look it up.
I want to check you out. I like this growth. I love to see this in you. I encourage.
I'm really trying. Like
you said, Matthew 8 and what?
I think it's Matthew 8:16. I know it's in Matthew.
That ain't it.
But I know it's in Matthew though. But it is in Matthew. Kiki, are you gonna make me get up and go look at this number on my wall?
We're gonna leave it there. Nope, we can't get up.
But I'm working.
I'll give you this one. It says, Matthew 6. Well, you said 6 and what? Wait, my bad.
No, was it Matthew 8? Was it 8?
Nope, that ain't it.
But wait, I'm in the right section though. Wait, I'm in the right section.
Matthew 8.
Yeah.
You said the centurions. Matthew 8:13. It said, then Jesus said to the centurion,
yes, that one.
Go, let it be done just as you believed it would.
Yeah, but see, I have the New King James version. So
this is the NIV. It says
NIV. So yeah, so in mine
it makes it a little Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Mine is a little longer. So it goes, then Jesus said to the centurion, go your way, and as you have believed, so let it be done for you.
That's like legalese. So King James Version is like the Bible version of legalese.
So basically, have faith.
Yeah, go just as you believe. Faith. Yeah, okay.
Go as you believe. Have your faith and keep it.
Keep it, hold it.
And hold it.
Don't let go.
Because if you got the faith, then Jesus don't need to be with you in that moment because you already have the faith and you carry. Because that's what the conversation was. Because the centurion man was upset because his servant was dying.
Right.
And he was like, Jesus, I need help. And Jesus was like, I'll come with you. And the man said, you don't have to come with me. And Jesus said, okay, well then, if you believe,
right, because I'm
go your way. If you believe, go your way. And the next part of the scripture, it says that the servant was healed in the hour.
In that moment, at that moment. Immediately.
Well, in mine, it says within the hour.
Okay.
So in this one, it says, and his servant was healed that same hour.
I mean, that's still right now. I mean, an hour versus
yeah. I mean, listen, an hour versus not at all. I'm learning.
Look at you breaking the word down.
At least I had the right scripture. Couldn't remember it.
The chapter.
8:13.
All right, 8:13. I'm proud to see. Sometimes you need a friend to kind of push you a little bit. You said you couldn't remember it, but look how you not only did you recite it, but you broke it down. You see what I'm saying? That's what friendship's about. You want those friends to push you. Say, no, friend, you did 4 days. It gotta be, because it says you hide that word, his hard word in your heart, right? So it's like it becomes natural. I gotta get better. I don't got much. I should be. It's all about.
I got a new one on my board today.
No, my pastors would definitely give me a side eye.
It's too early. I haven't practiced.
Listen, the fact that you did that, you know what? I don't know if we're gonna do it for the podcast, and maybe we should make that a thing, because I need to get better at reciting verses, and my pastors already challenged me in that space, and I have not been doing any of that. I'm definitely not. I'm not a rising star in church right now. They're like, she is not. We saw so much greatness in her. Don't give up on me yet. Just keep trying to figure life out.
I wanna learn more scripture, because I find that for me, reading scripture and critically analyzing the Bible as a guide to how to respond to life, right? From the perspective of Jesus, I find it to be very comforting to my faith.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like the same way we read like a self-help book. Absolutely. Or the same, it's like it's the same.
It's the original professional development book. If you really read the Bible, understand what it is. It's really teaching you how to navigate life.
Yes, to navigate life.
It kind of covers almost every situation that we can face in life. So we don't have to necessarily, whatever. I say like this: it really is a book of wisdom. If you really understand it and know how to apply it to life, it's not about. We remove the religious aspect of the religion that we deal with in the world. It really breaks down scripture. It teaches you how to be wise, how to navigate, how to watch your tongue. Sometimes there is wrath.
Absolutely. No, that's real. Yeah. I totally agree. Today in my devotional, Proverbs 9:10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. So when I opened up the Bible today, when I opened up my app today, that was because me learning the Bible is, like I said, is more so for my faith. So I have an understanding of what I'm claiming to be faithful in, right? I feel like a lot of people, let me not even judge. So anyway, this is my experience. So for me, reading the Bible is a guide to be in, to humanity, right? How to treat people, how to treat myself, how to rely on my faith, and how to be diligent in that, so that I'm not worrying and trying to exhibit faith at the same time. Like right now, I'm in a season of no worry. Do I have fears? Because I'm human, absolutely. But I cast my fears. I'm like, hey God, take this. Because I can't. If I do it, what happened last time is gonna happen again. So anyway, this conversation can take us into
absolutely. Absolutely. That was good.
I'm glad that was a good transition for you.
You in your bag tonight. You quoted 2 scriptures tonight.
I told you today was very, very, very productive.
I'm gonna be on my B. Simone tonight. Jesus.
No, we're not doing that all day. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that all day.
My God.
My God. Don't do that.
Holy Ghost.
She do not be saying Holy Ghost.
I just added it in there because
Okay.
I'm churchy. I mean, we say Holy Ghost.
I need you to find something else because if you keep saying, if you
Glory.
say those other
Glory
phrases,
to God.
okay,
My grandma used to say that. My grandma used to say, "No, I can't do what my cousin Shirley used to do. She would hit back and hit it, but I can't. Her voice still let it carry. She came from the belly. It ain't there yet for me." My grandma used to say, "Glory to God, merciful Savior, merciful." Savior.
And you felt it. You felt it in your spirit, right?
I feel that in my spirit every time.
Yeah. All right. So
sorry. That was a good segue and I messed it up. So
it's cool. So you want me to do so we have we broke the episode up into 5 parts. Well, no shit.
You're supposed to know that. Anyway, for us. That's just our guy.
Okay, cool. So anyway, overview is giving growth. Where challenges become invitations, right? Mm-hmm. For me, I feel like there's a deep connection to like what I'm experiencing now in my life and the challenges that I've been experiencing and the trajectory that I've been experiencing. It was something you said last night when we was talking, when I was telling you like, Kiki, you're having an accelerated experience, right? And then it made me think about like my experience. Mm-hmm. And even though our situations, the things that we're navigating are very different, mm-hmm. they're parallel in a lot of ways. And I feel like that's kind of like divine intervention. You know, like we've always kind of had this thing where we had similar interests or similar things, you know, like experiencing similar things. But I feel like in this season of our lives, a lot of the things that we both have been experiencing, although different, there has been like these parallels. Yeah. And when you said that to me yesterday, when I said that to you yesterday about you're having an accelerated like kind of learning experience, and then you connected it today to my experience in my faith. Yeah. And that like really stuck with me. And I was like, yo, that's real, because like I said before, like my whole life and me believing in God and having a relationship with God was really me banking on residual faith from my grandmother. Mm-hmm. But now my relationship with God is based on my daily prayers, my daily devotion, my conversations, and my faith. Yeah. I'm not relying on other people. Like I have Village, you know what I'm saying? Like I talk, I fellowship in my own ways. But yeah, so I thought, so that made me really think about what you said when you was talking about like the acceleration part of it. And in this season, because some of the things that I'm experiencing, I've experienced them a year ago, 6 months ago, when it comes to like just worrying about things and not really being clear about what's next or what's happening. Or like sometimes you and Jasmine tell me, sounds like you just don't have control, Jasmine. So it's like, it's all of those things. And I'm like, okay, so I'm having an accelerated experience when it comes to like really leaning in my faith. Yeah. Because that's the only thing that's going to like, that's the only thing that has been getting me from day to day in this season of my life. Because every day is something different. Well, no, recently it's been every week. Because I think I'm at a place now where I'm not even bothered by the changes from day to day. Yeah. I'm only like really focused on the high level items. Like what are the things that I have to respond to? Yeah. If it doesn't require me to respond, have it. Yeah. You know, be well.
Yeah. When you spoke about divine intervention, it came to my mother said to me, I was sharing with my mother about some recent things that happened. She said, there's another term, divine orchestration. There's some things that God can orchestrate that we can't. When it comes to connections that we have in our lives, like our connection and the experience that we're having, sometimes God orchestrates these things to put us in position to grow, right? So just tying into the title, the challenge, when challenges become invitations, these challenges that we face, these experiences, that's always going to be a bad challenge, you know, learning opportunities become invitations. And that is a part of God's divine orchestration, because everything, when we surrender to his divine planning and timing for our life, we can't even foresee how all these things are connected. We think in the moment it's like a well, a lot of times time and time again we talk about even with your accelerated experience. In the moment, you couldn't see what it was doing. But like you're saying, now you're able to see that it was the purpose of that was to strengthen your personal faith. And so now, as we experience life, and some similar things may happen in different areas of our life. We're like, oh, I got this.
I did that already.
At the age of 13. You know what I'm saying? So like that is the amazing part about when we're open to when the challenges become invitations and us RSVPing to the invitation, right? Because we could say, I gotta consider this, but and then because like you said, we were talking about it earlier, we kind of talk, brainstorming about this topic. The invitations can look differently. These challenges could be an invitation to grow, the invitation to evolve, or change your mindset, right? And like, what does that look like? And like you said to me earlier, you said growth is based on your level of self-awareness. And we was breaking that down of like, okay, let's first break this down to what are the definitions? Because like the invitation to grow and the invitation to evolve. And I know these experiences that life in general, all of us can say that challenges in life have invited us to do something. Well, you know what? This challenge has shown me I got to straighten up on how I manage my money, on how I take care of myself, how I communicate with my loved ones. So that can invite you to grow or evolve, in both. So, you are big on words, so I think we should also hit the definition.
All right. So for the purpose of this pod, this is how we're defining growth. Ongoing process of self-improvement and development, expansion of knowledge, skills, and self-understanding. Key areas of focus: emotional, intelligence, relationships, career, and overall well-being.
Yeah. And then the one part I didn't include in the talking points, which was what we went to chew on, was growth is understanding oneself and the world as separate entities.
Yes.
So that's the differentiation. So remember that last part when we break these down, we'll come back to that.
Yeah. So, okay. So now we're going to define evolution. The ongoing process of positive change and growth, enhancements in self-awareness, perspective, and character, adapting to life, improving skills, and transforming interactions with the world. Don't worry, y'all. This is going to be a post. We will share the written part of it. Yes. But Kiki, I like the way when we were talking about it earlier, I like the way you mirrored it. Like I like the way you created the parallel for how it's connected. So if you could break that down.
Sure. So growth focuses on an understanding of oneself and the world, I said, and the world as separate entities. Evolution is understanding oneself and one's role in the world. So you're looking at your impact. Growth is also like a skill, it's like the tools, the skills that you're using to actually can lead toward evolution, but it's a practice. So that's how in reading the definitions and say, okay, you're looking at these two things. When you're looking at growth, you're looking at yourself, your self-awareness, who I am, who the world is. How am I, what the world is, what's going on separately. These two things. And then with evolution, it's okay, here I am. And what role do I play in this world? And how I show up. And my impact on the world. Yeah.
I like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. No, I'm fine.
No, it made me think because when you did the hand, so it was kind of like you had did the hand, but it's kind of like when they become.
Yeah. So the evolution is like when that was an overlap. So the growth is like you're looking at these two things separately. The evolution is like how do they come together? How do they overlap? Yeah. How does one play? How does the world impact you? How do you impact the world? Yeah. Right? How does it influence each other? Versus like you have to identify what the world is and all that is going on and who you are and how that fits. What is your purpose and how does these connect? Yeah. Which that comes to purpose and becoming.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I like that like paraphrasing summation. I like the way you did that. Now, this is not for this particular pod, but this is just something to think about because it makes me think about like when we get stuck in a place and we don't realize that we're not growing. It just made me think. I think that's like a topic we should come back to, because I know our podcast is about healing and moving forward, but I do think that there's a space where people have to like do self-inventory and actually recognize. I know she's writing this down because she's great at taking notes. I think it's important for us to kind of like think about that from like our own perspective. Like, are we growing in these areas? Are we growing in our relationships? And that maybe connects to the next topic, but to some degree. But it's like, are we growing professionally in our careers? Are we growing in our well-being? Are we growing in our relationships? Are we growing in our communication? Like, where are the areas that we can define definitively? I have grown in this area. What does that look like? And can you acknowledge the areas where you have not grown, or where your growth is still not? It is not leading to evolution.
Well, as you're saying that, I'm thinking about your favorite. My favorite word is agility. What's your favorite word? Which one of your favorite words?
I don't know which one.
Two words. It's two words.
So
self-awareness.
that's my
self-aware to even have that conversation with yourself. Because it's so you have to be a willing participant in this process. Because like some people don't. The truth is, some people don't care. They're just okay with being who they are, where they are. It works for them, because some people's goal, they don't care about the growth. They just want to get what they want to get. What am I getting? I want my goal. At some point, hopefully they get the light bulb comes on for them. But some people really navigating this life, and not to judge them, for whatever reason, they lack self-awareness. And so I think for us, as we're on this journey, we also have to identify those who are not willing to see themselves. And you go over there, because you can't force everybody to see.
No, you can't.
Right. It's like, or you monitor, or you, based on what you can deal with and how this person impacts you. Because they may not be a bad person. They're still like, listen, I'm fine with who I am. And you know what it is, and you can just deal with them for who they are. It depends who they are, how they impact you, how you can engage with them. Because some people are just okay with just being, I am who I am. I don't need change. Okay.
No, that's wrong.
Again, goes back to season 1, the path of least resistance. If you want to hear, if you want to learn, I'm here to talk to you. You want to talk to me about it. You want to understand, but the truth is some folks don't want to. But for those who do, let's focus on the good, on these over here, because that's where we're at in this community. We're going to assume that if you're here, it's because you want to heal and you want, you building your self-awareness. So we're going to focus on that. Just had that thought in my mind.
And just to close this part off, right? Just to close this part of like the,
following.
There's also like this part of it that people think because they're earning or attaining external things, that means that they're growing.
That ain't wealth. That ain't wealth.
Yeah,
that's things. It's things. And listen. I'm sitting here with some way frames on. I like things. Okay, I like nice things, but that. And you and I both talked about this too. You will learn, for those of you maybe wanting and desiring the nicer things in life, you will learn that you can get that Louis bag, you get the Gucci sneakers, and you end up right in the same corner collecting dust as that Target bag. Sorry, not Target. As that Walmart bag, as that Macy's bag, or that, thrifted bag. They can all be thrown in the same corner collecting dust, and it's not going to change nothing in your life. It's not going to fix the depression. It's not going to fix the anxiety. It's not going to fix your bad communication. There's a bunch of nice things. There's a bunch of miserable rich people. Now, I know money makes things a little easier. I like to be sad and rich too. Just make it clear. I prefer to have more money in my pocket. But let's be clear, that's not the end all be all.
Sometimes it makes it worse.
Hey.
Because I feel like money and like extended resources, what's going on in the world included, right? I feel like unchecked resources and finances really make you more of who you already are.
Like the lottery show, it shows people like naming on lottery. They either it exasperates. That's the right word. Or like it makes whoever they're bad, whoever they are, it makes it. Yeah, my words can't get it. But Jazz, find a word for me. Help me here now.
No, exacerbate was fine. That was good. It made it much worse than it already was. Like some people be trash.
Yeah.
And
And
then they
money
get
makes you
famous.
trashier.
They, you know what I'm saying? What my one of my friends used to be like, what is it?
Basura.
Basura.
That's my favorite word. I'm like,
They'd be
basura.
like, you basura. I was like, what?
Basura.
Because in high school,
Trash.
What?
Basura.
She was like trash. I was like, oh, basura.
That's my favorite Spanish word. Basura. As a little umph to it.
Nice.
So yeah, so now it's time. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but I'm gonna ask you this question, Jazz. Can you talk about some of the invitations of growth and evolution that you've experienced in life?
Yeah.
Was that too fast? Let's just slow that down. Ask that again.
No, you can repeat it, but I caught it. You know,
okay.
no. Did the people in the comments, did they catch it?
Did they catch it? I'm gonna say it again. Jasmine. Hold on real quick. Hold on. I just want to say, I think I've been doing really good about letting you talk. I ain't cut you off too much in this episode.
Listen, I was, you know what I'm saying? I'm listen.
I'm getting better. Evolution.
Evolution.
Growth. So back to the comment. Now back to the question. Jasmine, can you share about some of the invitations, some of the challenges you face that has become invitations of growth and evolution in your journey, on your journey?
Yeah. In the last 2 years, there's been quite a few. I would say I've had some professional challenges that I've never experienced in these last 2 years. I've had some health and well-being challenges that I've never had, that showed up in ways that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
And I'd also say, like, in my personal relationships, like, right, in, you know, and being sorry, I took the wind out of myself.
How you do that? What you do?
Because I was talking, like, you know, when you're about to talk about something and you just be like, so after I said it, like, internally, my insides was like, oh.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like on past that, stop fidgeting. So I was like, like I'm showing through it.
No, I would say, like, so it's been like it's been my health.
Sorry.
I would say it's been, matter of fact, I mean, I would say spiritually, financially, relationally, like my relationships, professionally. I would say in every aspect. I would say part of it that I can share is, I would say the last 2 years has accelerated the level of faith that I have. And I'm able to sit now in some really uncomfortable spaces in my life.
Okay.
And like a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, I was really complaining. I categorize it as complaining about feeling uncomfortable and complaining about being tired of feeling uncomfortable. I'm in this space now where I embrace the uncomfortableness because I feel like I'm headed towards some type of breakthrough in my life. And I feel like I already had the breakdown part where, like, mentally and emotionally, I was just out of it. I didn't really want to talk to people. I didn't really like have a lot to offer. But now I feel like I'm starting to feel like myself again in my mind and in my spirit. Now, physically, we still got some challenges, but I embrace that too. Like, I'm learning to do everything I need to do by leaning on my faith and being the best version of myself wherever I am today.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to pause. Can you give me 2 seconds?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
You good?
Yeah, good. Madison, I don't know where she's at. I see her on my ring camera. I don't know if she's coming to go. It's like, my mommy duty. Just give me 2 seconds.
Go ahead, do your mommy thing. But yeah, y'all, go ahead.
Go ahead, Karen.
But yeah, so that's where I am when it comes to like my growth period. You know, it's always weird. Like when I had first originally was talking about doing a podcast, I had always thought about doing it by myself. And I always found it weird to like just be in the camera talking to myself, talking to people, because I can't really see who's looking and, you know, and I can't really engage with you all. But I hope that I hope this conversation is beneficial and impactful in some type of ways, and thinking about like what I've experienced professionally and spiritually in the last 2 years. I think it's been like some type of like spiritual warfare. It's like it was one of the things that happened. It was like to the point where I was just like, is this really happening? Like this has never happened. I don't even know what to do like in this era, like in this particular moment of what's happening. I don't really know how to gauge this. I don't know how to handle it. It's like foreign territory. And there's a part of me that, because I'm really big on self-awareness and I'm really big on accountability, there's a really my go-to is to always take accountability. So like if someone says to me, hey, this isn't working for me, Jasmine, or this thing doesn't look good, or I don't like the way this looks, I don't like the way this is happening. If someone says that to me, my immediate is like, okay, well, what can I do to fix it? What is it that you need from me to make this better or to fix it? And what I realized is that my genuine like disposition to just take accountability was like, it was kind of like, oh, she's just going to let this happen so we can just run over her because she's already taken accountability. So I was willing to take accountability because it's like, maybe it's something here that I can fix. But in reality, they didn't want anything to be fixed. It was more of like, when people are like, Kiki be talking about this a lot, when people are like determined to misunderstand you, and they're also determined to make you the villain or to make you the problem. No matter what you say or what you do can change that. So in that season and in that period, I had to really just rely on my faith. And I had to pray. And I was just like, all right, first of all, let me examine what I've done. Let me go back and check my receipts because maybe something I'm missing. And then I seek counsel, right? Other professionals like Kiki and a couple other people in my life. And then after that, that's when I came back and I was like, nah, my nigga, you tripping. Like, what's up? Like, you're doing too much. Like, that didn't even happen like that. Like, wait a minute.
They're committed to misunderstanding you.
But then I realized, because even when I pointed out, this is not true. Here are the reasons why it's not true. Here are the receipts. It was still a no.
They still find a way because they're committed. They are committed to it.
It's like they're committed to this piece because once if that piece crumbles,
they have nothing to stand on.
They have nothing to stand on, and then it gets shifted because then everybody start looking at you like, well, why would you say that? And why would you do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. I've had some really interesting. I can't wait. I am so looking forward to sharing some of the crazy shit that has happened to me in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
In a creative way, in a way in which I want to share it. Because I'm telling you, some of this shit me and Kiki and a few other people be like,
the hell?
What
the hell?
Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And I got screenshots. And I got documents. And I got timestamps. So I ain't making up nothing, but this shit really happened. But anyway, Kiki's back, so I'll stop talking now.
No problem. Thanks for holding down for it. These kids, they have a way of just doing things when you're live. When you said, listen, she had a play date, she came back. I see her on the camera going back and forth, but never came, like, just send me a text, tell me what you're doing. I just see her leaving the porch, and she's an outside kid. I love that, but she has to communicate with me. Because, like, the kids, like I told you, the kids on my block, they be outside. They play basketball. I love that the kids are outside because you don't see that too much nowadays. So I love to see kids outside. So I love the family next door to me because she's an outside kid, but it's like you have to communicate. You gotta communicate because
communication.
My nerves. That's why I was like, hold on, wait, because I don't see her come back and forth twice, and I ain't heard her in the house. So I was like, wait, what you doing? It's starting to get a little dark outside. Summer, I'm gonna let her rock out. I'm home, but still, you gotta communicate. So I just had to make sure she was where she's supposed to be.
Yeah,
and I was giving that conversation. Yeah, because it's not that I don't trust her. I don't trust these niggas outside. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust people.
Nah, you can't. I don't blame you.
And she's a young lady. And so I tell her, I'm not accusing you anything, because I've dealt with that growing up as a young lady. People will try to they accuse you of being fast and grown. To me, as these men out here that's warped and twisted and gonna do what you had. Remember, I told you she went to said, "Ma, can I walk to the store?" I said, "Absolutely not." Let me explain to you why. It has nothing to do with my lack of trust in you. It's my lack of trust in these people out here. There are men and women who don't know how to keep their hands to themselves, are inappropriate because you're a young lady. Why I know? I was a young lady with a shape and grown behind men will say something to a 10-year-old, 11-year-old girl. Got no business doing it, but they do it. Why? Because it happened to me at 10, 11, 13. So I have to protect her as much as I can until she's of age to do what she wants to do. And even then, I will always be her protector. But yeah, so I communicate to her, so I don't ever make her ever feel like I don't trust her. It ain't you. I don't trust.
No, it's important.
And it made it easier. She was able to, because she thought I was just saying nobody know. But as a parent, I'm learning communication. Over communication sometimes good. Like, hey, no, it's not you. It's them. It's them downstairs and outside. Like, when anyway went to school, it wasn't, I knew I had what helped me. I still had anxiety. It was still very hard transition for him to go away. But again, it was like, I ain't worried about him. It's he was in Baltimore. Manny was in Baltimore. Okay. I remember I told you I was stopping him off. Thank you so much. The light came on. I remember when I was taking him to orientation or getting ready to go to school, and we got caught up in a high-speed chase, and it wasn't between the police and civilians; it was two civilians. Okay, and I was like,
what?
A high-speed chase in the middle of the day by the college campus. They were chasing each other down. For what? I don't know. The next questions I took out the way. And my my fiance at the time was like, so we're bringing him here? And he's like, that's not even his biological father. He said, we're not leaving him here. No, he's coming home with us. What are we doing? Anyway.
I get it. But shout out to Maryland, to Baltimore. Have you seen what's been happening?
Beautiful city.
No, but have you seen what's happening like on the news? Like some of the mayors and so like the crime rates have dropped significantly.
Yes, significantly, yes.
So shout out to Baltimore, because I lived in Baltimore for a period of time.
Yeah.
I would still be living in Baltimore if certain things would have landed the way I wanted it to.
Divine orchestration. God said that wasn't what he's supposed to be at.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But if I had to like retire and chill any place on the East Coast, it would be Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. Either Maryland or Delaware. I definitely agree with you on that one.
A lot of my family moved to Delaware recently. I feel like it's a little bit too quiet for me.
The air is real different out there. I sleep so good. I get the best sleep with Delaware air. It's clean. I might even be. Manny will tell you. We like it's just so clean and fresh. It's very quiet, but it's clean air. I don't know what it is, but I get the best sleep I've experienced in Delaware. So shout out to Delaware. Shout out to Maryland. I love the chocolate city. No, DC is the chocolate city, but Baltimore is very much like just Black excellence too. So I mean, with the mixture of whatever. Anyway, I digress.
That whole DMV area. Well, I'm a D and M person. I'm not really a Virginia kind of girl, but
me either. I do want to do I would love to do a day trip to I want to do a crab fest. Like drive out to Maryland and go go to eat a bunch of crab all day.
I've done that. We should do that next time I come back to the East Coast when I'm not. Yeah, I'll be back out. Yeah, when I come back. Next time we should do that. So one of the things I do want to do this year in September, I want to do the Black Caucus event that's in DC every year. I believe they're still having it this year. So maybe that would be a good time. You know what I'm saying? You know what? We gotta start submitting our stuff for these media passes. We're gonna talk about that to these events. We're gonna talk about that offline. But anyway.
Okay. So this is my turn to talk about.
Yes. So how has what has happened with you that you're willing to share that has been challenging but also felt like an invitation for growth?
Yeah.
And second part, it's two parts. I'm adding this. When did you realize it was an invitation for growth?
You think you felt like you ate with that one? You was like, yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
I like that. It just came to me. It just came to me.
Yeah. Wouldn't I say it again? One more time.
What do you want to share that has happened, that you've experienced in the last 2 years or so, right? That you found to be challenging. And now you can see it as an invitation for growth. And when did you realize that it was an invitation for growth?
Okay, so I'm not going to follow all your directions. I'm going to explain to you why, but give me a second. So I don't want to put a time limit on the invitation to growth when it comes to the context of growth and evolution, as we discussed today, right? So that's why that's just my one. I want to just, based on what I want to share.
Okay,
can't limit it to the past 2 years. So I just want to be clear that I'm not trying to be difficult in any way. I just want to give context there. And then when did I realize it? So, okay. So when we talked about, when we was looking at growth and evolution, right? And growth is, again, like understanding oneself and the world separately. And then just to recap, and evolution is understanding oneself and one's role in the world. Yeah. So when I look at me finding my passion,
but wait, we didn't get to growth. We didn't get to evolution. Did we talk about it?
Yeah, we did.
We did.
No, it's supposed to be both.
Oh, I didn't really talk about evolution like that. But go ahead, figure it.
Okay. Oh, I'll let you swing back. We circle back.
Yeah, we can swing back.
So what I realized is this. So what I want to focus on is like my personal and professional development, because it kind of overlaps in the space I'm talking about. When I found my passion, when I found my purpose, in advocacy, like advocacy work, specifically DEI in the corporate space, but finding my passion, what I'm good at, also like project management, and it's being who I am naturally, and what I'm naturally good at, right? And I knew there was a time professionally where there was a point in time where I was learning myself and learning the world. And then it came to a point I didn't really quite know how these two things melted together. The evolution part for me was like when I understood who I was, right? And then trying to make the impact and making my impact and communicating that to others. So I was learning myself, learning the world. And then I realized that the invitation for me was like learning to be able to communicate who I am and that impact that I'm making and the impact I want to make and who I'm becoming. So, and I think the difficulty for me and where I grew at was that I had to learn how to tell my story. I had to learn myself, understand who I was, write my own story. And I'm writing a book, and the part of my book is talking about how I found my voice and how I took charge of telling my story in a professional setting as well as in just a personal setting, right? Of who I am, who was Keosha in the world. I was very aware what the world was. I was somewhat aware who I was, but I was still becoming. And as I learned this new part of me and understanding what my purpose was and what my calling is, I began to see how that impacts the world. And so then that was the evolution of me, growing and learning. But then the other part was like learning how to communicate and tell my story. And that's where that invitation came in at. When did I realize it kind of happened in like little pieces. Like when I first realized that this DEI and advocacy thing was a lane, that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And in that space, I also began to realize and learn like, oh, this is who I am. Like I'm naturally good at this, right? And project management. And then like, even when I was on my short-term assignment as a project manager for my previous employer, I was never given the space to fully operate as a project manager or given the space to take lead in meetings and discussions and strategy. And in that space, it allowed me to grow, I think, and evolve at the same time. It was happening at the same time, this weird way. It was like I was growing and understanding and finding myself and building these skill sets of like communicating. Like we said, the skill sets, we go back to the notes, enhancing self-awareness and perspective of character. Understanding that for me to show up the way I want to show up, it's going to call for more discipline. You know, I was in New York working on Paris time. So I had to change my routine. I needed to be sharper so I could make better decisions. That meant taking care of myself, taking care of my body. Right. Mm-hmm. So I was adapting to life by improving my skill and transforming my interactions with the world. How was I doing that? By showing for myself first. I was on the bike every morning. Because you know, when you work out, that gets your mind, it helps with your mindset. And it gets help me out here. When you work out, what does that trigger?
Adrenaline.
Yeah, all that. And it helps you with your creativity, helps you with how you navigate in a day. And then with the evolution part of it, here we go. Huh? I lost my train of thought. No, I'm sorry. So the growth, I'm gonna flip this guy. I got to flip up. Growth emphasizes on this. Okay, no. So the adapting part is really the evolution part. The growth part is just like understanding, coming to understanding of these things. The evolution is adapting and improving of it, and how those things. So I wanted to just clear that up. But so that's how. Again, I think the win. It's like not just one light bulb of a moment. It was a few. It just kind of these little light bulb moments. Like in my book, I call them like growth moments. So moments in which you realize these things had to happen in order for you to grow and happen. Yeah. So we all have like pockets of growth moments. Like, that's what that was for. Oh, this is who I am. Oh, this is how I make an impact. You know, and I need to speak up a little bit more in the boardrooms. Oh, I need to sit down and really write out my story and practice it. And know how to speak when spoken to, and know how to tell my story when asked upon. And what story do I want to tell? You know, like we talking about also like we was talking about the capacity expert. I forgot her name, but she was talking about like
Raquel.
Yeah, everything you do and who you are is not always have to be unpacked and connected to a trauma or something happened in your life. It's just who you are, right? And the impact of that, and like, okay, even I say in relationship when I was challenged in certain areas of like where people didn't necessarily like how I communicated. Because I have self-awareness, I'm big on self-awareness, I was able to take a step back like, is it me? Do I need to change some things in order to make this a relationship work? Where can I be better? You know, because now I'm impacting someone else's world and who I am. So it's like, well, I can't just say, well, because of, and at one point I was unpacking at one point, like, well, I come from a family, we just say what we have to say. We don't worry about how we're saying it. But it doesn't work for everybody. Just because that's what you're used to doing, this may not work for the person. But also, it also comes apart when you're talking about realization. Some people are, no matter what you do and how you adapt, they're committed to misunderstanding you. And then that learning of like, okay, well, if you're committed to misunderstanding me, no sense to me going around on this merry-go-round of conversation if you're not even trying to understand me anyway. Right. And that also the understanding of like, for me, this ain't for me, but that's a no other conversation. But just kind of tied into what you were talking about earlier about the commitment to misunderstanding, and no matter how much you try to find a middle ground or even assess how you're showing up and your impact, they just don't want to see it. Because then at that calls for accountability. And that's what else when you say that to me, we talk about by you giving the proof that you're making an effort to do the things to fix this, by you doing that crumbles their story and forces them to be accountable, and they don't want that. They want to be the victim. They want to be offended.
Yeah.
So,
so
that's when you realize, okay, you don't want to see me, so I'm going to exit stage left. I'm gonna limit my interaction with you. You don't have to necessarily exit, but I'm just gonna just change my engagement with you.
So, you finished?
Yeah.
I have questions. So I have questions and thoughts, right? So I'm thinking about like growth and evolution, as a process, right?
Yeah.
When you're going through a hard season, it could be a week of like multiple things happening, but that week can feel like such a long period of time, right? a year can feel like a lifetime when you are
You're in it.
consistently going through when you're in it, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you look back 2-3 years, you're still in this process, and it feels it can feel sometimes like it's never going to end. And then for me, it feels like it's not going to end, and then it becomes this other thing is like, what am I doing wrong? Right? And I think that's what happened to me, because I think in my process of growth and like identifying that these were opportunities for growth, that required a mindset shift. Because me looking at it initially, it was something I was doing wrong. It was something that was happening to me.
Or you're a victim. Like, why does this keep happening to me?
Yeah, it's like, why is this, you know, like, why is this happening over and over again? Like, why am I repeating this lesson? What am I not getting? What is not happening? And I think now, because I'm processing this as we're talking about it, because I'm still like processing the idea of like the adapting and the evolution of who I am, right?
Mm.
Because I think we talked about this last week or the week before, like, so much of my identity has been wrapped up in my struggles with my health, my challenges with my health and my weight. And I think all of that connects in some way. And I'm wondering, has it stunted like my evolution, or like slowed down my evolution in some places, in some spaces, because I already know who I am at my core. I've known who I was at my core for a very long time, right? Since maybe like my mid-20s. I knew that part of the work that part of the work that I do in this world and space and how I show up, I am to be of service to others. What that looks like has evolved, because in the beginning, it looked like me doing everything for people. Over time, it's become, no, I can create something and you can benefit from it, but I can't pour if I'm empty. Right. So now I've kind of like created that, and I understand boundaries and things like that. But I realize and I recognize in this moment that the one thing that hasn't evolved is that part of me. 1 second. Because like, if I keep looking at myself through the lens of the things that I haven't been able to like get the result that I want, right? Or get what I deem is like the final thing, I wonder if that impact I know that impacts how I show up in the world in certain spaces. So yeah, go ahead, Kiki. I feel like I already know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Huh?
So you said something, and you know, I was thinking about this. Sometimes you're saying like, why do I keep going through this? Maybe this loop is because, to your point, maybe just a thought, just something to think about. Is it this loop because you haven't till now got the point it's time for you to change your story? Because sometimes our story can be our crutch and it holds us back to your point. Oh, this is why. And that's that growth moment. Like, I'm on this loop because I keep going through this loop because I keep missing that. Like when you're going double dutch and you got to jump, you got to get the right time in. You get it. Now the lessons, the thing is with the loops though, every time you go around that rotation, you're picking up a little bit more skill, picking up a little more understanding. And it's like you gotta keep going. Like when you're teaching a kid, you gotta when you're bringing up a kid, I'm gonna keep telling you this. You gotta be repetitive till they get it. They're gonna get it. And sometimes it takes a little longer to get it. The goal is, I hope and pray for myself and others, is that we can start getting a little faster. And sometimes, not to cut off but like, because we don't have to. Even when I there was a point, I'll tell you this, when I was going through a challenge at my previous employer. And I was talking about how no one wanted to give me a chance, and and I was kept getting overlooked, and I was in a hostile work environment. And then all that changed. You gotta let that go. You can't keep talking about that no more. That's not your reality. And even when it was, I realized even when I had moved into a new role, I was still in this defensive mode because I was so used to fighting. And my first year in that role was really me decompressing. Like, hold on, kid, you're not there. No, we can't tell that story no more. Now what?
Absolutely. No,
I'm sorry. And even
while
I was in it, like we were talking about last week about impact. Even when I was in it, I still did dope shit.
Yeah.
I still was creating impact. So that proved, and I know that, but it's still Black wasn't going as high as I could have gone because I quit at some point. I had quit certain things because I was in that rut of like being a victim and wasn't being, but can you doing the things, but I couldn't make the connection. I couldn't see that I was doing things while in this challenging place. It was inviting me out, but I kept missing the mark, or I wasn't realizing it was the invitation. So it's like, and then when I finally was out of it, I had to check myself like, girl, you're not there no more.
Yeah. Because you got to get out the loop yourself.
You got to jump off. You need to find the right time to jump off. Like, you know, when you swing and you're swinging high and you got to find the right time to jump off the swing. Get off the swing, girl. Listen, what you keep going back up, or you're going to be stuck and you'll miss the mark again. So it's like, again, these things that happen are not meant to become your story. It's a part of it's a chapter in your book, but it's not your story. Like I can talk about being a survivor of sexual assault. But that's not who I am. It's part of who I am, and it definitely influences some of my decisions I make, and even how I protect my children, right? Or being in a relationship with an alcoholic, I know what impact that has made on me. Or my battle with food, with food and obesity, and my battle with anxiety. All these things, influence and play a role, but it doesn't define.
It's not it doesn't. It's not the definitive, and it's interesting though because. So we talk a lot about growth, right? I'm fully aware of all my growth points, and I'm fully aware of all my like challenges, right? Like where the challenge, like where the pain points. I like to call them pain points, right? Where the pain points are. But earlier today, when we were talking, when I was doing the conditioner in my hair, and we were talking about today, and when we were reading the definition of like growth and evolution, and I was thinking about it, and I realized that in that moment. In my process, I haven't been thinking about evolution. That hasn't been a part of my narrative. That hasn't been a part of what I'm inspired to do. I haven't been, because me, I'm big on language, right?
Yeah.
So now that I've added like this evolution piece to my thought process, it's really opening up. It's like unlocking something different.
Yeah, because you've been looking at it as two separate things, you and the world.
No, I wasn't thinking about evolution at all until you said it today. When we were talking today in the bathroom when I was doing my hair, remember, because I was doing something and we were talking, and that's why I was like, wait, when you started talking, I was like, wait, look that up. Remember, I was like, look those definitions up because it sparked something. But in this, like, even if we go back through like previous episodes and these conversations that we've been having, we haven't been using the word evolution.
No, we haven't.
We've been talking about healing. We've been talking about unpacking. We've been talking about growth, but we haven't really been specifically talking about our own evolution. Although we are evolving, but for me, language is really important. So now that I've added this other thing, it's like, okay, I'm growing. How am I taking the tools and the resources that I'm accumulating in my growth and in my healing and in my unpacking? How am I taking all of those things and now applying it to the world? Because that, based on what we're talking about, that is the part of evolution, right? It's putting it in practice. It's like how I see myself in the world. And if my lens of how I see myself is only based around the things that I find to be challenging, I'm not giving myself grace. And I'm also creating a foundation that I really can't build and evolve from.
And also, like, growth and evolution doesn't have to come from negative experiences.
Exactly.
It can also just come from joy. Like, oh my God, I never knew I could. This is amazing. I want more of this. Like, it doesn't have to always be a challenge in a way of like this negativity. Absolutely. It can be like, yo, this is dope. Like, I want more of this, or something that you never realized that adds to your joy. So just to go back over, defining growth is like the ongoing process of self-improvement and development, right? The evolution is the ongoing process of positive change and growth. And like we said, like with with growth, it's understanding oneself and the world separately, and evolution is understanding oneself and one's role in the world.
In the wrong.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so
And yeah.
and so the growth is like the expansion of knowledge, skills, and self-understanding. Evolution is an enhancement of self-awareness, perspective, and character. Ooh,
Yeah.
that
So
character.
exactly. But it's like, and it's like, if I'm only looking at myself through my challenges, and I'm not looking at myself through
Your wins.
through, you know what I'm saying, through my
Yeah.
wins, then it's like I'm not evolving in the.
It's
I'm not
stunting.
evolving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it's
limiting
like
yourself.
you
Yeah.
limit. It's like, you know, like I don't know if you've ever read this book. I gotta, because I have it. I'm gonna read it again when I go on my vacation. It's called The Big Leap.
Mm.
And it talks about how we have these limiting beliefs. And then this other book that I read when I was doing my master's, the dude who did 48 Powers, Laws, whatever his name,
Mhm.
Robert Greene.
Yeah.
He has this other book called Mastery. And it talks about, like, you know, when we're kids, we have this like really creative, like limitless mind as a child. And then, you know, we become an adult, we go into the world, and it kind of starts to shrink our world a little bit. And we're not as creative, and we're not as daring, and we're not as like, and you know, we're not willing to jump off the cliff as, you know, as much as we get older. But I'm just like, all of this is happening. I want you and everybody, this is all happening for me in real time. So I haven't been in my creative and like my really like strong critical thinking mind in a minute, because I've been navigating so many other pieces. But this evolution thing really got like, it really something is really like, it struck something. Yeah. Like I even put it you know, in my memoir, because you know, the title that I'm using, but I just put a note in my memoir, and I was just like, why did I stop sharing my story? Right? Because it's like, it's connected, because I stopped writing, I stopped performing. You know what I mean? So it's like, now I gotta kind of go back and not to kind of like, woe is me, but it's like, can I go back and like, and tell my story in a way where it's like, I'm now kind of like putting these pieces together.
Yeah.
And what does my evolution look like in a year from now?
Yeah, it's the holistic approach. It's not just focusing on the negative.
Yeah.
It's like all these pieces.
I'm a little fucked up. I just want you to know that. Like, I'm having a moment, y'all, like in real time, because we talked about this earlier. So this conversation is not new.
No, but we're expounding on it. We're talking. We know we limited it because we just brainstorming it. But as we're talking about it, and like you said, like adding different elements, like not just growth, but now evolution and what that looks like, and how it impacts us, and how we can add that now to the conversation of like, because we just focus on the healing growth part, but there's also the evolution aspect of it, and that adds to the conversation. So this was a quick side note. So it's A Big Leap by Gary Hendricks. I listened to that on Audible. You know, I'm an Audible girl, so I got to go back to that. I looked at my library. I still got an hour and 40 minutes left in that book. I might replay that and listen to it. But so it's important to,
because the question is are we evolving? Like, you're doing all this growth. You know what I'm saying? And you're looking at all these things and you're saying, oh, I did this and I did that. You know, I've done this better. I'm doing this better, whatever the case may be. But it's like, are we really evolving? Like, how are we seeing ourselves in the world? Like, how are we impact? Like,
how are we showing up in the world, right?
Yeah, and how are we showing up?
And how we, you know, to your point with like even your spiritual journey and your growth and like your faith, you know, not defining, but strengthening your faith, your faith with God. It's like, okay, what does that look like? Because even on my journey, you know, like we're kind of going through our own separate journey, but like together at the same time. It's like I'm realizing that it's really about not being perfect, right? And like the heart posture and understanding what that is. And like, okay, this is my goal to be more Christ-like. And unlearning the religion side of things, and like that's where all the performative aspects come from, and the need to appear to be perfect. But like, I talk about it very openly is like, I know that my transparency of my journey is what is part of my ministry. People always say to me like, "Hey, you being you talking and being authentically yourself shows me that I don't have to beat myself up." And I know that I'm going to have to come. I know this process is going to refine me more, and it's going to call for me to show up differently as I evolve, right? And I do have moments where I'm a little rebellious against that, of like, because I want to be me, but I know that with this, with my purpose, it's going to call for, and I've refined over the years, like those of you who've been on my journey, even as I've been working in the luxury industry, you've seen the refining. So like, and okay, because even in that, right, your environment and who you're surrounded by is naturally going to refine you. You know, working in the luxury space, you learn how to operate and move in certain spaces because there is a certain level of expectation of you to operate at a higher level. And it's all about experience and expertise. And as we say, there's a French term, metri. I ain't gonna jack that up. It's pretty much like centers of excellence. Let's leave it there. I'm not gonna mess up that French word. But the purpose as is saying like we are, we have a certain expectation of you, and we're okay with doing that when it comes to getting our check. But when it comes to our heart and how we show up on the spiritual side of what God is asking for us, sometimes I have a problem. I struggle with always operating excellence when it comes to this space, because sometimes it feels like, because no one's paying you to do this. This is about your heart. This is about what your relationship with God, and this is a discipline thing. This is accountability thing, and we have normalized like I could do what I want to do and still love God and go to a church. I'm very much that girl, right? And there's also a conviction in like, girl, but if you're going to tap into this part more, you're going to have to refine some areas of your life. You can't smoke Sunday night. You may not be able. I did it last night, but maybe 6 months down the line, I won't be smoking hookah. We're gonna pray about it. Or maybe I might smoke hookah offline. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It may be as who I am changes and evolves, grows and evolves. What I present to the world it's going to have to change. Even as a professional, even as an author, even as I'm writing my first book, as doing this podcast, as a part of branding. Who do you want to be? What is your brand? Who is Keosha? Who is Jasmine? So it's real conversation. Like, I know that my transparency is part of who I am, but the transparency also is not. That also can't box me in. Like, I gotta be real. No, girl, you ain't got to do it. No, hold on. There's the fine line. You won't be so real. You block your own blessings. You gotta know when to, you know when to hold them, when to fold them. So it's like, I used to be way more, I was queen of shade. They call me Shady Boots. I throw shade. I say what I want to say, what I want to say, who's going to check me. But is that beneficial to who I am and becoming? So no, I gotta refine those things.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because you're talking about like, you have to refine things, because that's like what you put out into the world, externally with other people. And for me, I think my evolution and the parts of my relationships that I have to improve is really my relationship with myself.
Well, I think that's hand in hand. I think that's the key. Like, because if you don't work on with yourself, you can't. That ain't gonna be authentic. So even like how we take care, how we treat ourselves is gonna, like, who you are on the inside. Like we talk about with money and how it exasperates even a positive or negative. What you do in the dark is going to eventually ooze out.
Yeah, but for me, it's a little bit different, right? Okay. Because I don't really have, in terms of like quote unquote refining, right?
Okay.
How I communicate in my relationships, they're pretty solid. I give more. I'm way more considerate of other people than I have been for myself. And that's like, I'm very considerate of people and how I show up for others. But I'm realizing that I haven't always been considerate and giving myself the same amount of grace that I give others. So I have to, so go ahead.
Go ahead. No, finish. I'm sorry.
No, so it's like, so I'm thinking about my evolution, because right, even if we talk about like changing the narrative and changing the story, right? If the hardest parts and the most challenges that I've had with me, right, is me accepting certain parts of my story and not letting it keep me there. So if I accept these particular parts of my story and then I move forward, that's still a relationship with myself, right? Because let me see, I'm trying to say this because I don't want to say it in a fucked up way.
Go ahead, let it go, let it rip.
The most, I would say, in terms of people, right, in relationships, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have conflict with people, things happen, and you know me. Once I say what I gotta say and we have a conversation, it's not something that's like, it's not gonna be on my shoulder for a long period of time, right? So I would say like my most challenging relationships have been with like family members and like from my youth. I don't really have a hard time navigating the world as who I know myself to be. But I have a hard time, I have a lot of challenges navigating myself with who I'm supposed to how I'm supposed to show up for myself. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, seriously, you really
no, but why do you think that is though?
Because I've been holding on to the narrative.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like today, in this moment, like it's
yelling. I'm sorry.
Shut up, Kiki. I'm not yelling. You know what I'm saying? I'm passionate because I'm really having a fucking moment on live.
I see.
And it's really tripping me out.
I was trying to light it up for you.
No, it don't have to be light because I don't feel bad about it. But it's just like, no, I don't feel bad about it at all. But it's just like evolution. I think the biggest part of my evolution is me, the relationship with myself.
Okay. As you were talking, you was talking about like, you know, you give consideration to a lot of other people, but you realize that you don't give consideration to yourself. And you know, when you give consideration to people, I think it's also like there's a bandwidth to our, when you give consideration and people don't appreciate the consideration, there can be we can have a short fuse to that. Like that can send us like, you know what? I was considering it. And so I was wondering if the lack of consideration impacts, I don't know if the word is if it's grace, but if it impact our grace we give to those who don't appreciate our consideration. Because if you take the time to consider yourself, right, and the word is when you prioritize considering yourself first, that allows you, in my experience, you move a little, you get gentler. You move a little bit more grace, and like, okay, right, you're giving yourself consideration. So when your consideration to others is not maybe respected or considered, you're not so quick to fly off the handle because you're operating from a space like, okay, I see what that is. I know for myself, right, versus myself, because I'm not prioritizing considering myself, that when someone doesn't appreciate my consideration, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm doing this because and nobody wanna, because again, that's not their fault. You're not prioritizing considering, because when you're considering yourself, half the stuff you considering you won't be considering. You know what I'm saying? Like half the stuff there's gonna be a lot more boundaries and things you're gonna consider yourself in every interaction. So you'll be less inclined to overextend yourself in consideration, and then therefore you'll be less inclined to get upset. And if if someone does violate or not appreciate your consideration, okay, we're gonna stop it here. And I was even thinking about, as you were saying, that even with interpersonal relationships, even romantic relationships, setting boundaries, right? Because I'm considering myself, I'm constantly considering myself first and checking in myself and doing these scans within myself in these interactions. When you say something I don't like, oh, hey, excuse me. Hey.
Excuse me. Come here.
Don't talk to me like that. Or I'll give you an example. Someone recently told me, there's a couple words I don't like. I don't like to be shushed. Don't shush me. Shush, don't shush me, and don't tell me to shut up. Right. So the old key, and this could be for anybody. Someone would say something to me that would offend me, and I probably would like, and I wouldn't say anything, and I would let it sit and fester, and eventually it may come out, or I would just stop dealing with them. I would just go sleep. Right. But the current key who now considers herself in every interaction that she's in, the minute the offense is made, hey, talk to you for a second. Do me a favor. Don't talk to me like don't those words don't work for me. You could ask me to be quiet. You could consider for me to give you a moment to speak, but those two words don't work for me. And if you want to continue to communicate with me, you cannot use those words. And it relieves all of that tension, all of that buildup. It's been established. Now they have whatever they do with that is on them. They can say whatever, cool, that we want to engage, or they'll respect that.
Yeah.
But you know how much you release that. You're not carrying that. Because why are we carrying all the unnecessary? Because what they said to you, and they don't know they even offended you, and now you mad.
Mm-hmm.
You're not considering yourself and all these things.
Nah, that's real.
Yeah.
In my relationships with people, right, friendships or romantically, I don't really usually have like really big blow-ups with people.
I do. I used to anyway. Go ahead.
So that's I know that's what I'm talking about, like in terms of evolution, because I think because it's not about perfect, right? I'm a very flawed human, right? But I think my relationship with other people, I think how I create relationships, how I create safe spaces for my relationships, I think I have a really good handle on that, on my external relationships with other people, right? I have a really solid group of friends. I have a really solid group. I don't really have a lot of mixy shit going on, right? And I don't, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I really don't have a lot of blow-ups with like friends and things like that. Like I don't even have a lot of blow-ups with family like that.
Let me digress. Right? I don't have a lot of blow-ups. Let me stop. I never really did. I don't. Let me just go back. I don't have a lot of blow-ups. Go ahead. I'm sorry, friend. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I know what you meant when you said it. I know what you were talking about.
Folks don't know what I mean.
Yeah. So so I think my consideration from others is really just me being me.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is that me being me, sometimes I can overextend. And I have to learn to take care of me first. And then if I have something left, hey, you know, cool.
Overflow. You get the overflow.
Like the overflow, yeah. Then it can go. Yeah.
You'll get this. This is for me. You gotta be selfish. Yeah. I saw a post on TikTok today, and she's like, let's normalize. I can't remember how she said, but she said like overly being selfish, like being overly selfish with yourself, like about your time and putting yourself it's very similar to this conversation, but she had a different. I gotta find it because I think I reposted it. I think I even sent it to you, but I'll look back. But she talked about these things like putting yourself first, unapologetically, not in a way to hurt anyone, but to protect not even protect. I don't think it's a word of just like putting yourself first. Like, does this work for me? And if it doesn't, it's okay. And it's not doing too much by saying it doesn't. And also, you know, my first lady talked about, you know, my pastor, actually, she goes by Pastor Sharice. She talks about like being like, she's sensitive and she's a crier. And I'm also a crier. And, you know, being a crier, I'm also a crier. You're also always kind of like, oh, you're so sensitive. You're a crybaby. That's superpower. And I love the way she like rephrases like being someone who is emotional is a superpower. It's not a bad thing. That's a part of who you are. And there's a reason why God created you to be a crier or sensitive. And understanding what that is and how that shows up and how that can impact your empathy if you feel, right? Yeah. But learning how to even that to evolve in a way where, you know, I remember I was in an experience where the old me, when I'm angry, I feel like I'm not being treated fair. I would cry. And recently I was in a situation where I know the old me would have been crying out of anger. Mm-hmm. But in that moment, I was like, I'm not even crying. I'm mad. But I'm not crying because I've done the work to nurture my emotions. So even when someone is violating me, again, it comes back to that consideration and considering myself. I've been considering myself this whole time. So I can differentiate like, okay, this is about them. Yeah. So I can maintain my composure and not lose myself in emotions, because I've worked on growth and evolving in my emotional intelligence, so I can sit 10 toes down in the situation and not budge. I can get passionate with you. We can get, excited, huh? But
no, that's real though.
Right? But
no, I think
also,
real.
like even that moment, oh shoot, P done did it, because my mother even said, P, you ain't it, girl. Not.
Yeah. That's interesting you say that. I used to think that something was wrong with me because, vulnerability. Yo, we gotta tell this story one day about this slid down the wall shit.
Go back to season 1. She told me season 1.
I did. I told the whole story. Oh yeah, I did. You're right. I did tell the story. I think that's the episode with Jasmine, right?
Yes.
I think that's the episode.
Yeah.
The episode with Jasmine. Like, I'm very sensitive. Yeah. I'm very, very sensitive. I feel everything. And I know, like, sometimes be like, God damn, Jasmine, why you got to be so deep with everything? But that's just literally how I experience the world. Like, very few things are surface level to me. But the thing about it is like, even when people be talking about cancer, it's like we always crying and shit. But it's like, it's this really interesting, like, parallel, right? Where, like, the things I care about, I really, really care about. But if I don't care,
I don't care.
Give a shit. You know what I'm saying?
You would think I'm cold how much I don't care. You like, do you
I don't
have
even
a heart?
No, I don't even be thinking about it. And I look, and like sometimes Kiki get mad at me. She'd be like, yo. And I'm like, nah, I want to let it play out.
Man, that.
I like to see. I remember the first time I heard that Maya Angelou quote. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people show you who they are, believe them. And like, I don't know how I got this way. There's a part of me that really enjoys letting people show me who they are. And like, and other people have always said to me, like, yo, that's a lot of
work, like, effort.
It's a lot of work. But I enjoy it. Like, I that's what I'm saying. Sometimes I think I could, maybe I'm
it's that 50 Cent cancer. It's the cancer. That's the cancer.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm not like, I don't act on my pettiness. But I will let you act a fool.
Yeah.
So then when I decide, like, hey, I wish you well. If my conscience is clear, I ain't thinking about that shit no more. You know what I mean? Like, it's just very interesting how we, how we evolve, how we show up in relationships, how we see ourselves and we see the world.
Yeah.
Like this evolution shit got me fucked up today, Key.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, that was good.
I told them about bags sometimes, like, I love, I'm multifaceted. And I know I could be very deep. I don't often display the deepness of my thoughts in a public setting, because it's in my journals, I got a lot of notebooks. And sometimes Jazz can get a part of a glimpse into my deep thoughts. I'm like, Jazz, I had this epiphany. Something came, I had a growth moment, and this is what I'm thinking. I think. So I'm like, all right, bye, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I go right back to my same old silly self. But no, I do. I love this process and this, even with this podcast, because, and even how we're approaching it now with like the topics and like how we want to approach this, how we want to break this down and getting these moments, because it's allowing us, like you said, in real time, like, oh, I never thought about evolution. I didn't think about it either until we was talking about it. Was like growth and evolve. Wait, are those the same or how are they different? And which created the conversation and talk points that we had. So, and I hope that as you're watching this, it also helping you. We're at an hour and 42 minutes. You know how I feel about time, huh? I was watching it closely. But as we're talking about this, I hope that you are thinking about yourself and how you've grown and how you evolved, or areas in which you want to grow and evolve. And so this is something we want to, for this week to ask yourself, what challenges have become invitations for you to evolve and grow? And reflect those experiences. You want to share, drop it in our inbox and share with us how, the reputation you received to, based on the early definitions of growth and evolution. If you want to share your thoughts and, your ideas or just feedback, we'd love to hear from you and on how these challenges have invited you. How these challenges have become invitations. whether it's growth or evolution or both. We'd love to hear from you. We love engagement. We thank all of you who have popped in and showed us some love. And we didn't have much engagement tonight, but even just coming on as engagement, seeing your names pop on the screens have been great. I love to see it. And thank you all again for your support, your continued support. Oh, we didn't get to the health hacks. Do you have a health hack? One, and the second part is, do we want to talk about dating tonight? So there's twofold here, so we can wrap this up.
I got a little note about dating. Okay, so when it comes to health hacks, it's summertime. Drink your water and get some coconut water if you can. If you like coconut water, get some coconut water. Electrolytes. I can't give you the definition right now, but Google electrolytes. You need them. You know what I'm saying? You need a little sodium and potassium too, a little magnesium. Go on and get you some vitamin D. You know what I'm saying? Take care of the wellness. But let me get to this app. So I'm about to go on vacation. And I plan on taking a long break from the app. And I'm going to tell you why really quickly.
Tell me why. Tell us why, Jazz.
Because I recognize that I am someone who needs to be intellectually stimulated, right? And what has been happening is that I will have like a basic, surface level conversation. That's cool. But like we 2 weeks in and we talking consistently and you ain't got nothing. You can't teach me nothing. You ain't got nothing to share. You ain't got no thoughts. You ain't got nothing. I don't have nothing for you either, sir. It's you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's sandpaper. It ain't nothing happening. You ain't moving the needle. Nothing is moving. And it's just like, and then I got like it's been 2 people that I've been talking to like, consistently, but it's like, how many times are you going to say good morning?
Or what you doing?
Or what you doing?
Hey.
Or hey, like what? Like, so it's like, I'm at the point now to like some degree, I don't even want to respond to good morning. And I know that probably sounds childish, but it's just like, it's like,
it doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay, cool.
No, it doesn't. I'm very much
how many times? I appreciate the thought, but where is this good morning leading? What action?
Yeah. I don't mind the good morning if it's connected to other conversations throughout the day. Like I don't mind.
It's not.
I don't. Yeah. If it's a good morning and just nothing out there, and sir, keep that. Go about your business. But if it's a good morning, and then I also know what creating a cadence or I know that I'm going to hear it from you at some point in the day. Hey, what's going on? Or, hey, what's going on? Grabbing lunch. How your day going? We can talk about a little something. That's different. But you just hit me up a good morning. I had somebody like that too. I let them fade off. I stop responding. It's like I don't need your good morning message.
Yeah, no, like I'm over
it. It's not followed up through effort and intentionality to get to know me, asking questions about me. Not only just that, because I'm not looking for a pen pal.
Yeah.
When are we? The purpose is interpersonal connection. When are we gonna meet? What we gonna
look?
When is we gonna? And then also, I'm sorry, you done? I don't want to hijack the conversation.
So wait, no, but this you made me laugh. But nah, it's what you said. And it's also like we need some benchmarks and actionable items.
KPIs. What we doing?
What are the touch points? What are the touch points?
What are the milestones?
There's no milestones. There's no touch points. Like so it's just like, and I'm trying to be graceful, right? Because there's a part of me that would just stop responding and never speak again. I don't even bother to block people. I just don't respond. But I don't want to be like that in this season of my life. I want to be very clear on why I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I'm also letting.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But I'm also. It's okay. But I'm also letting people show me who they are. Because if you don't ask for anything or you don't require anything, people are going to be themselves. Now, there's a couple things that I make clear. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. Okay. I have that. But if this is all you're offering, what am I here for? This ain't enough for me, bro.
So what I realize when you're saying that, there's a couple of things, because I'm realizing you do have to teach people. Now, there's a baseline thing people should have of like engagement. And if we're meeting on a dating app, but the purpose is to date, right? To figure out we want to go out and date. That's one part. But two, it's like, I just feel like in today's world, in society, we don't, so many women don't require much that men have been allowed to be lazy and show up lazy. and they just allow men. I've done it myself, speaking for myself too. I'm not above this, and because I'm learning, and I've learned to again consider myself in these engagements, so I can say, hey, this is what I need. I understand enough of me. So one part I can speak to myself. I know I didn't require much of people, so I will continue to engage to these what you're doings and these good mornings, and not making it known this ain't enough for me. And what I'm learning in this phase of life and this phase of dating is that, hey, I'm going to communicate to you. While this is nice, I desire, and I require more to get to know me, because my time is valuable. So if you want to get to know me, you need to be intentional about setting time, as I will be, in getting to know you and setting up time to go on dates, right? And they have one or two options to respect, to act or not act, based on their response to my request, and just letting them know what I want will tell me where we're going. Because some folks just need to be, it's like training. Like, yes, that you have your respect, and you've given some, but hey, listen, I require a little bit more. I really like you, and I'm getting to know you, and I would like to see if this could develop into a friendship further. But in order to do so, I require that. I need this from you. And then now, if you share that and they still continue what they're doing, like you said, they've shown you who they are. I can make the stage left. And I've noticed I've had a positive as far as experience. I was sharing with someone, hey, this is what I need from you. I require this. Oh, okay. And they adapted. They answered to it by in their own way. But hey, okay, this is. I'll give you an example. If I say, hey, for example, I do need more time. I would like to be more intentional. We're going to continue getting to know each other over time. Let's make sure we make time. I'm busy. Well, that's not an excuse. Why? Let me give you a real life example. I've dated someone who worked 2 jobs, and every week they made time to say, hey, here's my schedule for the week. What's yours? I would like to see you this week. And if we can't see each other this week, that's fine also. But he was intentional about expressing that he wanted to see me and spend time with me. If we couldn't, that's fine. And also, of course, in addition to in-person communication, because sometimes we just can't distance. Now we lived an hour away from each other, so we always couldn't see each other. So it was communication and FaceTimes, and you'd be more attentive with the conversation that we're having. But to say you're busy is telling me you don't want to. Is that not, if that's not what you want to communicate, then you need to change what you're doing. Because if you want to, then you have to show that not just in your words, but your actions. That's just.
So I'm glad you ended. No, I'm glad you said that, because there's 2 things I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I don't like them enough to say anything.
Also, right.
And I don't want to.
Okay. That we also
look. You see how we just wrapped that up? I ain't got to say nothing, because I don't like you enough to do this. I don't.
I just want to challenge it, not challenge it, but also
go ahead. Like, I'm open today. I'm having a lot of epiphanies.
I think sometimes we can say that we don't want to because we're afraid of what if it does work out.
Oh yeah, no, this is not that.
Okay, just one.
No, this ain't. I don't know what there is there to work on.
Oh, I'm saying, like, sometimes we're like,
no. I know what you mean.
There's a guy that I saw, and I was like, he's a good looking man. I don't know if he really does. We matched, but I still was questioning if he really was feeling me. Like, that's a good looking man. It's a fine specimen of a Black man. And I was like, did he really like me? Like, even though, listen, I've heard people tell me I'm gorgeous, I'm beautiful. I don't walk around like I'm beautiful. Like, we talked about this many times before, like this pretty thing, and like, we don't always feel pretty. I don't walk into a room like, look at me, I'm gorgeous. Like, it's not mine. I don't walk in like, I don't know if do other people know they're ugly, and do people know they're pretty? Hear me out.
Okay.
And do you operate from a place of ugly? And do I operate? I don't walk. So do you know you're ugly? I don't know.
I don't know.
And do you know, right? But do I know I'm pretty? I've been told, but there's days I look in the mirror, I don't feel pretty. I don't look pretty to myself. So that's what I'm I'm trying to get at. So I don't walk around like, oh, look at me. I know there's days I really I'm feeling myself a little bit. Huh? I don't always feel that way.
I'm going to say this, and I say this with all humility. There's never a day I wake up and I think I'm not pretty.
Ow! I love that for you.
But, however, there are days when I wake up and I don't feel attractive.
Okay, you know what? I like that. Maybe that's what it is.
So I have like this whole written story memoir thing, and it's called Pretty Unattractive.
You mean a book? You have a book? Oh, an unpublished book. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's an unpublished book, and it was titled Pretty Unattractive, right? And it talks about the duality of me knowing that I'm pretty, me knowing that like aesthetically I'm pretty, like my face card is I'm easy or not.
Never
it's what it, you know, it's what it is. But it's not from a place of arrogance. It's a place from just just being aware,
self-awareness. Yeah,
self-awareness, right? But also the duality of like I don't always feel attractive.
Okay,
and then it goes back. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And then it goes back to that whole like painting in the wrong gallery thing, because the duality, you know what I'm saying, like you trying to lock it in, and you know what I'm saying, but the but it ain't hitting all the time. It don't always.
Yeah, and I don't always, even people like, you know how beautiful you are. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't always guarantee the man wants me. I don't walk around thinking that every man wants me.
Yeah,
I don't think. That's what I'm saying. So like, even when I'm after this fine ass man, I was like, you want me?
You've been pulling them, girl. I'm gonna need you to
big mama.
You know what I'm saying? You've been pulling some nice looking. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't
you see Tim? You see that video I sent you?
Listen, you know what I'm saying? Don't minimize that. You know what I'm saying?
I said, Lord, if you give me I wouldn't mind a fine. Like, I've dated men who are medium cute.
Go ahead.
They're not. I don't consider them fine. I consider them handsome. So this levels to looks to me. Handsome is not fine to me. You could be handsome. You can have some good characteristics of your face, a good nose, a good lip, some couple combinations. But then there's those who are fine. I wouldn't mind looking at your face all day. And there's some that's medium cute, medium, right? And based on how they've shown up, their medium has become medium to large. Their attractiveness has grown. That's what it is. Their attractiveness has grown because it's medium. And I've dated some medium men. And I said, Lord, I was driving. I said, God, I wouldn't mind having a fine partner like this. And I look at him. I wake up and I'm like, God damn.
Nah, that's real. But what I do think over time, someone who is just handsome or attractive,
right?
Whatever, they can become like they do something in you internally that's you just be like,
yeah. I've experienced both of those. Like, he's okay, but this person who they showed up to be, a couple guys who they showed up to be, made them even just God.
It's very interesting too, because people always say, okay, we have 156, but we could just
we gotta end this. Okay.
But like, I'm not really big on like a particular look. Like in terms of like what I deem attractive, I'll be honest with you. I like men who are confident, right? I like men who speak when they have something to say. And I like men who are really, really intellectually strong.
Yes.
And if we can talk and you can teach me something, I don't really care about all that other aesthetic stuff, right? As long as there's like some physical attraction between the both of us, right? Like,
yeah,
you know how to show up for yourself.
That turns me on
in the world. Like that is attractive. Like a confident man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Your nose could be a little wide.
That's okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's
okay. Can you write complete sentences? You know how to talk to me?
Right. Yo, I said that to Jasmine the other day. She was like, that's the standard?
Girl.
It's not the overall standard, but it's a part of the foundation.
So Jasmine will tell you, I was like, Jasmine, this man texts, every word has a period behind it. What am I missing? So we trying to figure out why every word he texted a period. We tried as a voice to text. We tested that out. And then I mistakenly came across a social media page, and he does it on his captions too. What is that? And I remember I had to ask him, I was like, why do you put a period after every word? Because, I just don't pay attention. You know how much effort it takes for you to put a period after every word? That's not paying attention. That's intentionality. Because when you do voice to text, it does not do that.
Well, a recent study said that 54% of U.S. adults read below an 8th grade level.
So you're saying that it's a strong possibility that he was on a short bus?
I'm not saying anything about a bus.
The little
I'm
class?
saying that listen, for me, when I first meet somebody and we're talking via text or whatever the case may be, how you communicate
shouldn't say this
impacts how I deal with you, because there is a really huge percent of adults who don't comprehend and communicate well. And as an educator, I'm willing to help you. But looking for a partner? No, sir. No, sir. Not here. Sorry.
I'm not shaming learning disabilities. I'm not shaming any disabilities in general. But someone made the statement, it is very real. See, in school, we used to know who had learning challenges because of the class they was in or the bus they was on. But then but in adult, we don't know. There is no indicator.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of folks that were on medications and things in their youth are now self-medicating with weed or alcohol or not taking anything at all. And they're operating in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that when you're in communication with them, like, oh, no. Honey.
You're playing. Like, oh, you out here cosplaying. You out here pretending to be a functioning adult. And then behind closed doors.
And conversation is showing the evidence says.
Listen.
Huh?
Listen, I have spent many years in classrooms and workshops. I'm all for teaching, facilitating, all the things.
But I think, yeah.
But I can't do that every day in my life.
Well, yeah, I met a guy. He said, I don't get paid for spelling. I said, but you should know how to spell, huh? And then I'm gonna end it here, because why would you admit that to someone that you're not paid for spelling?
Because we live in a world that we don't shame people. There's not enough shame.
Not enough shame. Bring shame back.
There's not enough shame, and there's too much audacity.
And then, with this vetting process, you may need to ask, is there any mental disabilities or any learning disabilities that run in your family? Because some of these things are hereditary or can be passed down. So it's not to, again, shame you, but just to bring, if we get to that point of like, hey, we want to pursue,
Are you on any medications?
Not only just physical, but emotional, that balance. Oh, no.
If I say medication, is there anything that you're on that you have to get from the pharmacy?
All encompassing.
All. Like, it's all. And it's like, and it's not, and it doesn't necessarily even mean that I can't continue to get to know you.
No, it's just awareness.
Just like, it's awareness. And it's like, these things shouldn't be like just thrown out. Like, what's happening?
Like, my daughter having the sickle cell gene. Right,
I got it too.
It's awareness. So when you're looking to procreate at some point, we have this conversation. Okay, we're at 2-hour mark, but yeah,
you have done really well, and I just wanted to know, like, this is a lot for you. You had a lot to say today,
and
I 145, like hour 40. She'd be like, "Look,
I did check it. I acknowledged it was that."
Oh, you did. But then you asked me about the dating app and stuff. I was like, oh.
Because I want to make sure that we get the people we want to be consistent in what we're giving the people. And I know I wrapped it up before, but just one more time, we're going to wrap it up here again. Just one more time. I want to remind you for this week, this is for your homework, to consider what challenges have become invitations for your growth and your evolution. And again, we invite you, if you feel led to, share, drop us slide in our DMs. Let us know what you think about the episode and how has it impacted you. We love the feedback. It really encourages us to keep going, continue to sharing. And we'll definitely summarize this. Remember, every episode Every full episode will be live, available for playback on Spotify, and YouTube. Every Wednesday. We're gonna have share some upcoming program changes as well as vacations and things. Some things we pre-recorded. We'll get back to it that too. Yeah. But holla. Y'all have a great week.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.